Welcome to Date Night Podcast,
a tabletop role-playing game podcast set in the homebrew world of Volyanaya.
Let's explore a whole new world together.
So last time we left off, you guys had just made it to the platform that was adjacent to the one with kind of this goat butcher guy on it.
Yes, I remember that vividly.
And you
because
ran...
that has been in my nightmares every night since then.
Good.
How to know when the
Oomoo
DM's doing his job.
Oomoo had sealed the disconnection on the adjacent platform so that you guys could walk over it kind of stealthily and then sneak up on the main platform where this butcher was chopping up these... basically these different memory gremlins or whatever mental demons that were inside of this goat's brain. And every time he was chopping one, he seemed to get a little bit more powerful. Just as you peeked over the edge and took in this scene of the butcher with the stub of the cigar in his mouth, we had the catchphrase from Grease Wizard asking...
Iconic.
What was that again?
Pardon me, sir. Can I get you a light?
Yep. So he whips his head around just as a fireball is heading in his direction and the direction of all of these minions. So I need you to go ahead and roll some fireball damage to get us started today, and then we're going to be rolling initiative. So.
All right. I need to borrow some D6.
How many? 8?
8. I have 2.
Yeah, you have
3,
more.
4, 5.
Well, I have 8.
6, 7. This is going to get confusing. All right. 6, 10. 6, 10, 3, 23.
Okay. So basically what happens when you launch this fireball across, you're probably 100 feet from where this guy is. The platform's about 200 feet across and 75 feet wide. The fireball just instantly consumes all of the minions that are around him. Seemingly does nothing to phase the actual butcher except light up the stub of his cigar.
Okay, don't use fire. He's fire resistant.
And now let's roll initiative.
Oof. Well, how can you be sure?
7.
8.
1.
Wow, these are great rolls, guys.
And that was with advantage.
9.
Oh,
What was yours? 7?
7. We're all sub 10.
If I have a +1 to initiative, can I say 2?
Not on a 1.
Okay, that's fair.
Any other time you can add
And
it.
unfortunate.
I'll roll the butcher.
Wow.
Wow, nat 20.
Okay.
Oh,
I got one more to roll.
one more. Who didn't die?
Huh?
Who didn't die?
Nobody that you can see at this point.
Oh, wait, no, the goose.
Right.
Right? Yeah, the goose guy.
Okay.
Bingo.
Wait, did he die?
Swan.
He's not with you right now.
Oh.
He said he was going to fly across when the time was right.
And that time
Okay,
will
so
probably be after
that
we
would
kill
mean
bad
the
guy.
butcher is up first. The butcher grabs a couple of chains that are laying down on the ground, and you can see that they're connected over to the sides of this platform at some of the places where, like, the synapses connect or whatever, and he yanks on those chains. Okay, those chains cut through the edge of the platform, and on 4 of the 6 connections on this platform rip open, and lightning starts shooting from them. It is your turn, Grease Wizard.
Uh-oh. Well, all right. So I'm going to open up... No, I'm going to run over to him.
Okay. He's 100 feet away right now.
Oh. I'm going to...
Zavascus not here.
Okay.
I'm going to go up 25 feet towards him.
Okay.
That's my max.
So little gnome legs. Ding, 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 ding.
And... So that
little
means
noise.
he... Yeah, okay. And I'm going to cast... How far away would that make me? So 20.
About 75 feet away.
I will cast... Hold on. I'm so sorry.
He will eventually cast.
He will cast.
I will cast...
Future tense. Perpetual.
I have casted
I have already casted.
and been casting and shall again cast.
Once in future casting.
So how about that little girl pulling that Viking sword out of that lake?
I'm gonna dash.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're just going to run 50 feet toward him?
Yeah.
And he will cast next turn.
All right. That means it's Kira's turn.
He's acted.
He has.
Dang.
He's yanked on some chains.
He's really
Okay.
yanking my chain.
I'm going
Nothing.
to hope against hope.
Just nothing.
I'm going to hope against hope that sharpshooter and this lucky number 20 die will actually work.
Okay, so sharpshooter shot.
So that fire did nothing.
It lit a cigar.
Thanks.
Don't you
Nope.
feel accomplished?
What?
Nope.
Okay.
9.
Yeah, that's
9?
Nope.
just sails over.
I might have if I didn't do sharpshooter.
Well, you get another attack, remember?
Nope. That was a 1.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, we can't do this today.
Just over this guy's shoulder. All right. That would put Zev up.
You mean
Who?
Oomoo?
Yeah. Oomoo. Zev on
Yeah,
the-
no, little.
You should have written the players' names.
Yeah.
What? How far away am I?
100 feet.
100 feet? Well, I'm going to run 30 foot in that direction.
Okay.
He announces.
And that will pretty much be my turn because I don't think I can hit him from anything else.
Would you like to be any closer than that? You could use some extra movement to dash. Okay.
Good
So
call.
you're about 70 feet away. Okay. And Grease Wizard is like 50.
Have fun with that.
All right, Ahrin.
I would.
I mean, Amma.
I would. She'll be back probably. I'd like to cast Call Lightning
Okay. How does that work?
on this dude. Okay.
She goes,
so
"Hey, lightning!"
The way this
She
works
pulls
is
out her cell phone and it says, "Lightning you up."
a storm cloud appears in the shape
Inside.
of a cylinder that is 10 feet tall with a 60-foot radius, centered on a point you can see 100 feet directly above you.
Okay.
I can see him, so it's
Yeah. You
up there.
It's up there.
And it is up there. And it also says if there's already a storm, then it just uses that cloud.
Right.
So
there's
I would
plenty
assume
of lightning around here.
Yeah, I would assume here it doesn't form a cloud and it just takes the lightning from
Yeah.
Goat's brain.
the goat's brain. Yes.
Okay.
And so I choose the point I could see. A bolt of lightning flashes down from the cloud to that point. Each creature within 5 feet of that point, so I'm glad you guys didn't run up, takes 3d10 lightning damage.
Okay.
And then on each of my turns, I can use my action to call lightning down again.
Okay. So, you create this storm, basically just summon all of this energy that's from the 4 broken tendrils on this platform, and it starts swirling above this guy's head, and it strikes down on top of him. When it does, he actually grows.
Oh, no.
So go ahead and roll your damage.
Go ahead and roll your healing.
No. 0?
That's a 10.
And-
It's 10.
Okay.
Oh, it said 0. 2, 3.
Okay.
15 points of...
You
Of
watch
healing
him
damage.
just get bigger, basically.
I just
and
used a
meaner
3rd level
looking.
spell slot for that.
He appreciated it.
I hate magic.
I want my axe back!
So,
And with that, Ahrin came back.
so now the lightning that was inside of those little tendrils, you kind of got the idea was getting ready to streak across the platform, but Amma's lightning storm pulled it all up above the guy and struck it down into him, so they look empty for the moment. The butcher, though, he's going to run up.
So far, we've
Toward
just
you.
lit his cigar and made it and gave him some healing. So I don't think he should be kind of friendly to us. I
Right.
think.
Yeah, you,
That
you
is
killed
true.
the. Unfortunately, he can't talk to you.
I wonder
You
if I
killed
should
all
have
the
brought
minions,
Zev instead.
but he was also killing them. Anyway, he is dashing up toward you. He dashes basically within 5 feet of the grease wizard, and that's his action to get that close. All right. So he dashes forward, let's see, 60 feet or so. No, 50 feet. He stops when he gets to you. Okay. It's your turn.
Grease wizard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as he's dashing, then
Yeah.
I open up my bag, the side pocket of my bag,
Okay.
and I say, "Suck on these balls!" And I toss out all 10,000 ball bearings.
All right.
No, just one.
How does that work? He's
don't
got to
know.
make a save, right?
Oh.
I don't know. I do this thing, but I have no idea.
That's
how it
not going to make whatever the DC is on the save. Yeah, that's like a 5. So he's going to tumble.
works. He's prone.
So about 15 feet before he gets to you, the ball bearings hit him, and he falls prone.
So we Home Alone him.
Yep, nothing has worked so far except
Suck on these balls.
except the ball bearings. All right.
Excellent.
Note to self, flag this episode.
Kira,
These ball bearings, Kira. Don't be a pervert. But as a gnome,
He is
I do
prone.
have 3 testicles.
You can't just say that.
it's
Roll a
canon.
deception check.
Well, I don't know. Is it true?
I
Roll a
believe it's
nature
true.
check?
Well,
Oh, it is for me.
okay, then it's true.
Nat 1.
And you're at disadvantage
But
because he's
that
prone.
nat 1 was at believing me, so now you know I have 3 balls. So go ahead and roll 2 more times for your attack.
Now you know.
Now you're on your second attack. It's at disadvantage because he's prone and range.
Nice try, though.
Oh. Wait, that means I have to roll it again. 15?
No, it was about to hit him, and then as he stumbled on the ball bearings and Pratt fell on top of them, it just sailed right in the spot where he was.
Excellent.
So he falls on his on his ass, and now he's on his face? Because that's what prone means.
Well,
Prone
prone
means
is
down.
just
I
that
think
they're
prone just
laying
means
on the
down.
ground.
Prone is face down.
Well, in D&D, prone is just on the ground, and he's on his back. All right.
No, to
Oomoo,
all
not
else?
Zev.
Roll 16.
I would like to cast Chill Touch on him.
Okay.
So I rolled a 17 plus 6,
Yes.
23. Okay. So then that's 2d8? Yes, 2d8. 8, 5, 13. Do I add my spell attack to that?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay, 13.
Okay. So this time, Oomoo sticks out his... Are you a moose or a deer at this point? I think it's kind of up to you.
Moose.
Okay, back to moose form. Sticks out a...
A ghostly skeletal paw in the space of
Okay. And
Paw.
that
a hoof. Whatever,
Sends
whatever
this-
moose
Yeah,
have.
that's definitely not a
Hoof.
paw.
Oomoo's got paws. So
That's an upsetting mental image. I'm going to draw it.
this kind of puts this layering of frost over top of the butcher, and as he's laying there on the ground, you hear him kind of grunt. Amma, it's your turn.
Okay, so the thing is, I used a level 3 spell slot for the lightning thing, and I have it for 10 minutes. A concentration spell means you can't cast another spell.
You
right?
can, but then you'll lose the first concentration spell.
Yeah.
So you can cast, but you can only keep one active at a time.
Okay.
So
I don't...
roll an intelligence check.
Okay. Not my strong suit. That is a 6.
Yep. Okay.
Plus 0.
Yeah, you're on your own.
Were you going to tell me how I could make my lightning useful?
Maybe.
I mean, you observed some stuff about the lightning, so I was going to see if you could interpret maybe what was happening exactly more than what I've already said. But
Okay, that was intelligence. Now roll perception.
Yeah.
no, she saw it. She saw what happened to the lightning.
Okay, I guess, well, all of my best spells are lightning related.
Yeah, because you're blue, right?
Yes,
Dabba dee
And you're also lightning resistant, which
Yes.
has come in handy in
that
here.
is correct. But I don't want to get too close within range because I feel like it's,
When you gave her the spells, did you give her any forms or anything?
Can I use my call lightning? I can strike any point that I can see.
Mm-hmm.
So can I use it to kind of shape the lightning in the goat's brain kind of back to the pattern it's supposed to be in?
Okay. So you're going to...
Not attack.
Is that a bonus action on subsequent turns to move
I
the
think
lightning?
it's just an action.
It's an action again?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to try and basically push it back, like, into the tendrils and stop it from coming out and raking across the surface? Because it seems to do that, like, every few seconds. Like, the lightning... When the tendrils are disconnected, if any energy is moving in, which in this area of the brain is constant, so it's like this constant thrum, 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 and every so often the lightning's coming out. And from your experience so far, that means usually you guys get hit by it if you're on top of the surface. So what you want to try to do with the spell is kind of let it run through instead of popping out. Is that...
Yeah.
All right. Just roll like a spell attack for that.
19.
Great. Yeah, so you manage, because your turn is right before kind of the environment acts anyway. So just as more
Excellent.
of that lightning is about to pop out of those tendrils and rake across the surface of this platform, you just push it back in to the tendrils, and it ends up moving to the adjacent platforms, where in some of those it erupts out onto the platform, but it doesn't.
I'm just imagining what this is doing to the goat's cognitive process.
Yeah, just
He's
imagine.
having a migraine.
He's
right
thinking
now.
about, what was I thinking? No. Oh, the toaster.
Oh,
I left the coffee pot on.
Oh, I shit myself.
It's a
That's probably
goat. Like,
more
that's what
accurate.
it does.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
All right. So
Okay. So that's something.
if that's that was an action or a bonus action?
That's an action.
Okay. Do you have any bonus actions you would like to do?
And not that I know of.
All right. All right. So the butcher now is going to try to get up inside of these ball bearings. That's a 2. Nope. This is how the boss fight's going to go. So he's just basically Randy from the Christmas Story. Can't get up. Can't get up. And that's what he's going to be doing right about now. And he's out of range to do anything, and the lightning is inactive. So it's your turn, Grease Wizard.
All right, so how big is he?
He's, by the time that lightning bolt hit him and made him bigger, probably 9.5 feet tall or so.
Okay. So he's sitting there. He's on his back.
He's up to about sitting position right now.
Oh. I'm gonna cast. So, can you describe what he looks like again, one more time, real quick?
Yeah.
Like his form.
Well, he's kind of a human form. He's just big and muscular and sweaty with like black hair plastered to his face from the sweat. And he basically just has on an apron that's more red with blood than it is white, and kind of a corpulent as well as muscular fellow.
Why would a butcher wear a white apron? Just why?
Because it's like in karate, how they used to do it. When you got your white belt and it would turn black and you're a master. When your apron
What?
turns red.
Or you fell
yeah, like
down.
with the
then
dirt.
you're a master butcher.
Yeah, when your apron turns all the way red, you're a master butcher.
Or you're terrible at it.
Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna cast a chromatic orb of wait. No, I'm not. I'm going to back up a little bit and cast Shatter
All right.
on him.
How far back are you going? You're about 15 feet away right now.
Let me guess. That heals him too.
So the range is each foot and 10. Oh, I'm 15 feet?
Yeah.
Just boom.
All right. Boom. I got to make a Constitution save. Is that right?
Yeah.
Here comes the boom.
That's a 19. So
No
half
bonus.
damage.
Here comes the
Half damage.
Here comes half
3d8.
of the boom.
boo.
15 points. Oh, 15 points of damage halved. So that's
7.
7.
All right. Roll 2d6 for the shrapnel of the ball bearings in that circle, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
That's 5. And my dex saving throw is 15.
All right. So you take 2 damage as one ball bearing hits you, and he fails his because he's at disadvantage on the ground, and he takes the full 5 damage as 2 or 3 of the ball bearings smack into his gut.
Nice.
Ow.
That does displace some of the ball bearings around him, though.
This
Yeah.
big,
After
big,
Shatter,
scary
it more that
butcher man
placed
goes-
them.
Right. Do you have anything else you want to do? Any movement or bonus actions you want to take?
Maybe.
Okay.
Can I? So I'm like 4 feet tall, right?
Less.
Less.
Mhm.
Huh. There's no way I could like
No.
No. No.
Nope, that's
no.
not.
tauntaun him, right? Like,
Crawl
no.
inside him for warmth.
What is no? Ugh.
yeah, like
No!
Like a
You
repeat of
cut
the
him open.
worm
Gosh.
thing?
He would be big enough to fit inside.
yeah.
Or this would be
Do
like
you think
another
there's a big
worm
enough
battle where he crawls up
unoccupied
his
space
anus.
for me to fit in? Then
Not currently.
Why?
What in God's name?
okay.
I think he's gonna try and climb in and thunderwave.
Well, no, I was gonna Misty Step inside of him
What?
Ah!
as a bonus action.
Well, read me Misty Step.
Well, it basically says that I can teleport into an unoccupied space.
It's occupied.
But
Occupied.
It's super occupied,
but
babe.
if there's a grease wizard shaped hole inside of him,
and
That's
there's
not
a grease
exactly how
wizard shaped
anatomy
hole in
works.
his heart.
yeah, okay,
Probably not.
that's fine.
I'm done. I quit.
All right. Then does that end your turn?
Let me.
You're on deck.
Yeah,
Kieran.
no. Is that a bonus action or an action? One action. No, I'm good.
He still counts as being down, so you'd be at disadvantage.
Okay, rolling my second attack then instead of both my attacks. 19.
Hits.
Finally.
He's below maximum health too, so keep that in mind for your damage. This time the first arrow sails over, but then when kind of the shatter hits and he's kind of ripples upward, you get a better bead on him, and the second arrow hits him for how much?
15.
Ooh, pretty good.
We haven't played it in a long enough time that I'm forgetting what numbers to be using. It's just kind of sad.
So that one sticks into his shoulder real deep, and it's Oomoo's turn.
He can't lift his arm, right? Right?
Oomoo's going to try to chill touch again.
Okay. Is that technically a ranged spell attack?
Yes.
That should
So
be.
do
at
Isn't every touch
disadvantage,
from Oomoo a chill touch?
too. Hey man, just chill.
Lowest would have been a 16.
16 hits.
Okay.
He is chilled.
Whoa. Hey, man. Chill. For 11 damage.
He's taking a lot of damage. He's looking kind of rough, considering he hasn't made it to anybody yet.
This is reminding me of that arena fight where that poor bastard never got off the ground.
Ingo has been swooping in this direction, and now flies in and casts randomly
In goes Ingo.
his favorite, the telekinetic ray. He's trying to throw this guy. Fails his strength saving throw. So he basically picks him up 30 feet into the air and drops him.
Nice.
Back onto the ball bearings, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Straight up. This would be 2d10.
Nice.
All right, 12 damage.
Nice.
By the way, official definition of prone: lying flat, especially face downward, but not requiring face downward.
Oh. He was not especially prone.
So I'm mostly right.
Mm-hmm. But not especially. So
But
that
mostly.
crunch back down onto the ball bearing area, where oddly enough, he's able to land on his feet that way.
No.
And Amma, it's your turn.
Sure.
Amma's meditating. Well, that's concentration right there.
I guess I'm gonna run up closer
Okay.
to him because I haven't moved since we got here.
Right. He's moved 50 feet closer, so he's about 50 feet away from you right now.
Okay, so can I move within like melee range or?
You would have to dash.
Okay, well that doesn't seem great.
Dashing through
Alma
the...
forgets she is an
Narrowing.
Ahrin and sprints towards him.
What's that?
That's what would happen if I decided to do that,
Oh,
which
okay.
I don't know that I have.
What have you been doing all this time?
Keeping us from getting lightninged. It's valuable. Go with it.
No, I mean like. I've had this whole time to think about what you were doing.
I forgot to be thinking about what I was supposed to be doing. I was lost in the fantasy. I'll just keep everyone from getting lightninged again.
All right.
I'll use my movement to move closer, but then I'll
Yes.
do the lightning thing.
Is
Okay,
lightning,
roll a spell attack again.
Is lightning a verb?
It is now.
15 plus modifier.
Yeah,
Is that
great.
the proper past
So
tense?
again, the pulse comes through down the
Lightning.
attached tendrils, hits this platform, tries to escape,
Have lightninged.
and you can see the butcher is actually like pulling to try and direct the lightning toward himself. It looks like on one of the broken tendrils. But
Nuh-uh, mister.
you force it all back down in there, and he kind of
And the goat has a seizure.
right.
It's just like one of those fainting goats.
Everybody's
just
like-
tips over.
The ground is now 90 degrees.
You can like cut to outside the goat. Like we're in the middle of this huge battle. Cut to outside the goat. Like music stops. Everything is silent.
It's that screaming goat from the.
All right. The butcher's actually up this time. The ball bearings have kind of moved, for the most part, out of the way with everything that's been going on. So he charges up to Grease Wizard, still the closest target, and takes a swing with his
Why
big
did you
cleaver
giggle?
and with his chain. All right, that's a 13.
No!
And guess what? A 13.
No!
5 and 5 plus 8.
The
So,
assless
just-
chaps.
Comes down
Oh my God.
with the cleaver trying to get to your neck, and you just kind of stretch out of the way, and then he swings the chain across, and you play a little bit of jump rope, and it's your turn to respond to that.
All right. I'm going to. All right, so I'm jumping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I, like, kick off of him? Like, while I jump to push myself back? Could take up some movement, but I'm thinking
You could.
that way I can get out without getting an attack of opportunity.
Probably not.
Okay.
Roll like your acrobatics.
But I am jumping, right?
You are.
All right, I'm going to give him a big hug and cast Thunder Wave.
Okay. I got a save, right?
Yeah.
What kind of save is that?
No. Strength?
If he saves, is it just a hug?
Pretty much.
It's Constitution.
Oh, it is Constitution.
13.
No.
All right.
That's
He goes back to being prone.
2d8.
Does he go prone, or does he just get knocked
He
back?
gets
10
knocked back 10 feet back into the ball bearings.
I thought it was 10 feet and prone.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I think
11.
Thunderous Smite might have been.
It
11 thunder
Mhm.
damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
And anything...
Crack. You hear a big crack across the platform as this giant butcher goes flying back 10 feet from this little gnome as he chest bumps him.
Any unsecured objects.
And the ball bearings. Like that. Any ball bearings between him and where he landed then? I guess... I guess they'd be thrown back kind of the same way he is.
Away from...
Yeah. So I don't think the ball bearings had made it like up to you. So some of them might get thrown backwards, but there's nobody back there. So some of the ball bearings go flying. All right, Kira.
Bow and arrow.
All right, you're not at disadvantage anymore. He's standing.
Okay, so both of these dice will be for both attacks.
Okay.
First one is 26
Yeah, I think that just hits.
and 12.
That misses.
Okay.
He's definitely below max health.
9, 10, 11, 12.
All right. So as he lands back from this epic gnome chest bump and just grabs his footing, pulls his cleaver up to start charging back at the gnome, one arrow into his chest, one arrow into his eye, the cigar falls out of his mouth, and he slams poof, onto the ground.
Prone?
Dead?
And dead.
Oh!
And Kira
grab a cigar.
curtsies.
We did it!
And
Go,
Kira
make a sleight of hand check.
What do we slide? What? Huh? Slide of what?
Doesn't matter. It should be advantage since no one else knew.
No, it's not for them to see.
11.
Nope. Poof, he disappears into the blue mist just as you were reaching for the cigar. Or the blue goo, I guess I should say.
Oh.
And
I burned a 3rd level spell slot, so I'm still going to keep this lightning going. I hope you guys don't mind.
Do we
you
mind
might
not
wanna-
getting shocked? No, of course not.
Yeah, right now the platform's still disconnected at 4 corners. So if you don't keep the channeling the lightning, there's a good chance you guys are going to be
I have exactly 4 spell slots left.
okay.
So not chill touch. What's the good one? Cure wounds.
Yeah, so
The helping one, not the hurting.
the one that you've been casting with Dern since last.
with
December.
Amma's help, as Amma is channeling all the energy back through these tendrils again and again,
I'm loving
make
it.
a medicine check at advantage since you have her help.
Okay.
Because Amma and Oomoo just sound like they would work well together.
Kira has cure wounds. Could I help too?
That sounds like
Maybe?
gurgling.
You could.
You said at advantage?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see if it starts doing
This-
anything
that
first.
was 21. No, that was 24. And that's a nat 1. So the 24
Yeah,
wins.
I'd go with the 24. So yeah, actually with 2 spell slots, you basically just touch the 2 opposite corners, and the energy radiates throughout the platform to the closest ones, to the ones you cast Cure Wounds on, and you see them seal up.
Yay!
Thanks for listening to Date Night. I'm Sam. If you want more Date Night, I wanted to let you know about some awesome premium episodes that are available on Podbean or directly at datenightpodcast.com. If you want, you can go to our site, click Behind the Screens tab, and you can become a premium member and at least one extra episode every month. These episodes have alternate GMs. I did one, some guest players, or just regular us in situations outside our main campaign. It's only $2 a month or $20 for a yearly subscription. And it's a great way to help support us so we can keep the lights on. Please click Behind the Screens tab over at datenightpodcast.com to learn more. Or, if you're a Podbean listener, you can subscribe directly from our Podbean feed in the mobile app or on your desktop site. Now, back to the action.
All right. Ingo, who was kind of doing a circle around where you are after dropping the butcher with his telekinesis, lands beside you and says, I believe we have taken care of the mental demons. And you took care of the heart, I am to understand?
And you got the tummy.
I did.
That was a really fun Simon Says puzzle.
Okay. I guess now we just wait and see what happens, or we could maybe go take a look at what the goat is looking at now, if that would, and have an idea of what's going on.
Oh.
We're not far from the ocular nerve.
That sounds weird. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
Follow me, I guess. So
We're following the lead.
You,
the leader.
I guess
You've
I
been
don't
running-
need this anymore.
yeah, so after a few minutes, I guess you'll drop your lightning storm.
Eva has
you could
removed
kinda
her bunny
carry it
ears.
with you, I guess, if you want for the next.
I don't think it
Few
would be
minutes.
very
Like-
helpful
like
in the
an
eyes.
Eeyore with a rain cloud
Yeah.
following her.
I don't think it would be very helpful in the eyes, and in fact, it might even be harmful.
It might not be good.
So I'm going to go ahead and not electrify this poor goat's eyes.
Okay. So
Giving him a seizure. Made him shit himself, and now he's blind.
you've gone over a bunch of these tendrils from platform to platform earlier. Now, instead of things getting more chaotic around you, it looks like some of these synapses are slowly starting to close, and the lightning that's had been ripping across their surface seems to be contained into the bright blue glows for the most part inside most of these as you go across. So it's pretty easy to get to the ocular nerve. Ingo kind of walks over to it and says, well, this is the nerve. There is a way that we can sort of jack into it, but it may seem a little uncomfortable at first, but just watch me. And he just pulls his head back and goes bill first into the nerve until his head is all the way inside of it. And he says,
That can't be sanitary.
I can see everything from in here.
That is such a weird sound.
Sorry, I can't stick my tongue out of my mouth to talk normally, so I sound like this.
Sounds kosher. And then I swan dive.
Like your whole body?
All right. So you just jump and you get to about like Winnie the Pooh going into the honey hole about to your tummy inside the nerve.
Assless chavs. The
Yeah.
only thing
That's all you
out.
can see. It's just the legs kicking as he's like trying to swim more inside. But it's just
Anyone need to
really
park their
tight.
bike? Anyone need to park their bike?
And the second you do, like the vision around you goes away and you basically see through one of the goat's eyes.
What's he seeing?
It looks like he's in a fairly nondescript stone, like white stone type room, or it's painted white. The floors are really hard and cold looking. And there's just one person, a human, it looks like, sitting across from him in a metal chair wearing matching, like, green, olive drab green colored clothes. And he's got letters that you don't recognize across, like, something on the above his breast pocket.
I cast a message
Okay?
to that person.
Okay.
And I say,
Stop
hey,
fucking with the
dummy,
goat."
it's the goat. Get out of my head.
That's awesome.
All right. Tell me how never mind. Roll a persuasion check. Can he talk back to you with message?
He can do up to 25 words, and the person can respond.
They can whisper back,
Okay.
but only we can hear it.
Only you
It's
can
a
hear it.
5. That's a 5.
And you just hear back, the fuck?
I'm the goat. Right? And you've been like inside me or something?
And then you just hear for or you just see for a beat him look around, like over his shoulder, look up at a little box that it's basically an intercom. I'll put it in our terms instead of fantasy terms. Up on the wall, like wondering if somebody's saying something through the intercom.
Nobody's saying anything through the box. It's really me, the goat. Watch this. Hold up fingers. I'll tell you right. How many fingers you holding up? Hold up fingers.
And he kind of hides them from where there's a mirror on the other side of the room and points them at the goat in an unsure fashion.
It's 2 fingers. You're right. Yes, I am the goat. Get out of my
I am
head.
the goat.
Okay. You just see him look down at his watch, sit back in the chair a little bit, stretch, and after a good 10 seconds or so of just staring directly at you and at the goat, bites his tongue, stands up, turns around, and leaves the room.
There we go. See you later, buddy.
Okay. And Ingo, out of the optic nerve, pops out. Says, well, it appears that he's given up.
Rightly so.
I don't know where you...
What happened in there? Who gave up?
What?
What?
What did you see?
There was someone trying to negatively influence this goat, shall we say?
I'd say so.
But this goat its survival was crucial. I don't know where you came from or why you ended up here. But I will say,
Shrooms.
without you, this goat and perhaps the future of humanity, I don't even want to think about it. Listen.
It would have been their swan song.
Very good. Very good. Listen, I don't have any way I can give you anything except maybe a feather. Yes, a feather. In fact, take one. One that I can study for just a moment before you take it.
Okay.
And
Just
he takes
one?
his bill,
But okay.
pops a feather.
Oh.
These are
off of
really
its
horrible
chest.
Stop
noises.
making noises. Stop it.
And puts it on the ground in front of him, looks at it, puts his bill down, flips it over, studies it. He says, all right, I've got a good picture of it. Now, one time, I should say, when you need me, place this feather, ruffled in the way it is now, on the ground, and I will find you, no matter where you are, and I will help you.
I think we might be in a different world. Though.
Yeah, like if
I
we're in a
don't think
different
we're strictly
plane.
here, so to speak.
So if we need anyone to pick up somebody and drop them 30 feet, you'll be there for us?
I don't know if you
I will.
noticed, but I'm usually a half orc, and I'm not currently.
You see, I don't think it matters where you are. The same way that you were able to come here is the way I was able to come here. This is not my normal form. In fact, I usually look much more like that man that you and I just looked at through this goat's eyes. But I chose a form that would fit better in here, and then this lovely deer chose my...
I'm a moose.
Moose, excuse me, chose my other form from his memory, and so that's how I'm represented. But I am not traveling strictly in the bodily sense, and distance or time or any of those things mean nothing, so long as I have a target to focus on, a single image. Now, if you were to keep this feather ruffled on multiple occasions in such a way as it is now, perhaps it would be difficult for me to focus on it. But if at one time, a single time where you would need me, you placed it on the ground, ruffled the feathers as so, then perhaps I would be able to zero in on it and find you. As soon as I get home out of this goat, I will target this feather, and I will see you momentarily from, of course, my perspective. From yours, it may be many months or years, or maybe tomorrow that you have need of me. And I will see you then.
All right.
You have my thanks. You have my feather. Is there anything else you would like to talk about or know before we leave?
A hug?
I've no arms, but...
Wings will be fine.
And the tongue whips around you and gives you a squeeze. As you can feel the underside of the tongue's kind of sharp teeth
Ow.
scrape up against you.
Weird videos start this way.
I think this is the premise of all the Charlie the Unicorn videos.
All right. Well, not what I
Would
wanted.
anyone else
Nope,
fancy a
thank
hug?
you.
I'm good.
I'm not really a
good.
toucher.
All right. It wasn't that bad, guys. It really wasn't.
Okay, do it again then.
No. No.
Well, all right then. Bon voyage.
All right.
Peace out.
Philadelphia to you too.
All right. And he quickly flickers and disappears, and then the image of the goats kind of like in front of you, the ocular nerve and kind of the cavity that you're inside right now all kind of start disappearing.
It's been nice to meet you.
You as well.
No, I'm talking to. I was talking to them.
Oh,
Since Alma's gonna go away.
I thought you were going to say the goat.
Bye.
Yeah, do you have anything as you guys are starting to fade and flicker that you want to tell them? Or Ahrin or anything?
And poof.
And
Intelligence is not her strong suit. Can I just say, I don't know if I'll remember any of this when I'm Ahrin or not, but if we're ever in trouble and I'm Ahrin, just remind me to call Kylina, okay? Anyone? No? Okay, cool.
I thought you were Alma.
Bye.
Writing down Kylina.
wait, who?
How do you spell that?
Poof. So you come to back in the circle inside the New Spore City, inside the Underdark, where you had drank your kombucha / ayahuasca type drink to go on your vision quest.
I am never doing drugs again.
And Kira and the Grease Wizard and Oomoo are there, but Ahrin is not.
I'm doing drugs immediately after.
I'm doing
Ahrin's
drugs
not
right
here?
now.
No,
Wait, where am I?
not in the circle.
Where's Ahrin?
Is this your character voice? Are
Yes.
you committing to this?
You're all extremely nauseous.
I don't care.
No.
Your mouths are really dry. The world is spinning.
I rolled
And-
a 2. I throw up.
Yep, you do. You take 2 levels of exhaustion with a 2 on your constitution check.
Oh, it's a 5.
15.
With my constitution.
2 levels of exhaustion. Umu's okay. What did you roll? 1? 2 levels of exhaustion.
Oomoo. That was rough.
All right.
And then what?
As you were scanning around looking for Ahrin, the Usane priest seems to notice what you're doing, and he sends a quick telepathic message to Oomoo. He's the one that's you're actually still connected to.
Is he a mushroom person?
Yeah, he can't speak. Oomoo had to breathe in some of his spores to be able to talk to him. And it's a quick vision of a portal opening and snatching Ahrin out of the circle, while the rest of you were kind of just like staring off into the middle distance.
I see.
Well, what happened to Ahrin?
Has anybody ever played Portal?
Oh, did one of those go get her?
I'm pretty sure I played that on a different trip.
Kira,
But,
Kira, I just want to point out, Kira is the only person here who has actually watched us disappear through the portals before.
There was a portal, and Ahrin's gone.
All right. She should have chose the other one, but that wouldn't have happened anymore. I used to go through portals myself.
Oh, so you have played Portal.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm not worried. She'll show up back later, right, Kira?
I don't know.
All right. Well,
Darren
I-
didn't come back.
We've broken Kira.
This is abandonment issues personified now.
Pretty much.
all right. Can I go take a nap?
All right. Yeah, you guys have traveled. You traveled for most of the morning, maybe into the afternoon to get to the city. You wandered around the city. You, Grease Wizard, found an Amanita and sent him on a quest.
I did.
You've looked around. You had your trip, so you don't know what time it is because you're in the Underdark, but you definitely feel like it's been a day.
Oh.
Man, it's been a day.
Oomoo,
Am I still level 5?
you're, well, I guess Didn't you make Oomoo for like other reasons? So,
I made Oomoo for a one-shot. He was level 3 when I made him.
so that
I don't know why I'm still using the
that
character
if he's
voice.
still in while he's still in this timeline, I guess he would be 4.
4, so we're splitting the difference. Okay.
Mike says, "Oh crap! Now I have to do more math."
You can keep your health and all that stuff. For
I was like, I don't know how to do this.
If we need to. Basically, yeah. So you want to go try and find a place to sleep, GW, Kira? What do you want
Yes.
to do? Okay. So Kira and Grease Wizard kind of tell you they'd like to do that.
And Oomoo. Oomoo's pretty tired.
I've got 2 levels of
the
tired.
priest kind of asked for you to hang back a little bit, Oomoo.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you transition now to Zev, if that's okay with you.
Can I go pee-pee real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that Mike? Is that Oomoo? Or is that
I
Zev?
realize I shouldn't be using the
I'm scared.
character voice.
I'm really confused.
All right, so you guys go off. There are a few kind of just like open structures around here
I hope
Uh,
one of
that
them has a door.
that don't really have any doors. You pull out your bedrolls and you start to go to sleep. I guess you find Zev. He tells you that he's looked around a little bit with Henna and found a map of the Underdark.
Ooh, a map.
Actually, one of the Usane who was able to telepathically communicate with Henna was able to pull some of her memories of the Underdark together with its own understanding and draw a map for you guys of the path that you would be best for you to take going forward. So I'll go ahead and grab that map if I can find it.
Very nice, very nice.
That was a totally different character and voice than you usually do.
He's tired.
Oh, okay.
Very nice,
You
very
got
nice.
a lot more posh, I feel like.
Very nice. Oh.
There's a table there,
I noticed. I found it.
and now you're sitting at it.
Oomoo.
Wasn't funny the first time, but I appreciate you for trying again.
We have to take 2
Oh.
naps.
2 naps.
Each
2
one
levels
removes
exhaustion.
1 level.
All right, I'll take 2 naps.
Here's the map.
I'm the map.
It's upside down.
I'm the map.
I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm
So,
the map.
hold
I'm
on
the
a sec.
map.
Let me point at it.
And sued.
They can sing again.
No.
From the top. I'm the map.
I'm the map. I'm
He's
the map.
taking
I'm
a
the
nap.
map. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map.
Creative license. All right.
Hashtag not sponsored.
So you guys came in the light water, and you took this long road to New Spore City.
Take me down.
You would have to still go this way.
I was going to go with Spatula
sponsored.
City.
It was basically your route.
That's a long route.
Henna and Zev tell you that the next part of your journey is to take the road that the Spore folk took to flee as refugees from Old Spore City when it received some flooding and corruption. So when they left, they named that the Spory Gone Trail. And that's going to be the
Stupid.
next leg of your journey.
That's amazing.
Stupid.
I'm so happy right now.
Sam is broken.
All right. Ahrin, as everybody else is kind of bunking down, checking out the map and hearing what happened in each other's adventures, except Oomoo, who's still talking to the priests for a little while. Ahrin, you're home, so to speak. But
If you're about to tell me that I'm still Alma and I'm still a druid and
you are not.
okay.
You are Ahrin again.
Oh, okay.
And you are home.
Yay! But she's not here. Boo.
You don't remember what went down inside the goat after the moment you swapped with Amma in the heart. You only remember being in its stomach, and then all of a sudden, you're in what should be home, but the lush tropical landscape is gone. You recognize Red Plume in the distance. The silhouette against the skyline is as familiar as the feel of an axe handle in your hands, but the skyline is really angry, and the landscape around you is corrupted, and actually pretty similar to that of the Underdark that you just left your friends inside, or sort of left your friends inside from your perspective, as you might think they're in a goat. So
Yeah, may I just say, ah!
you may.
That's all.
That's so polite.
So I have a lot of exposition again here, so if you bear with me through some of
So
that.
buckle in.
Buckle in. We haven't done this since early on, probably this much.
Yay.
The orientation of Red Plume is right to be at your home. The view you were used to from the west-facing window of the Great House, which was an earthen and timber long hall where the Bloodfang held their feasts. But now ash covers the sky. As you stand there for a little while, a breeze clears your vision a bit, and you can see the devastation to the east, which is where most of the ash is. Kind of the Red Plume is to the west. There's charred and broken village structures. There's bodies, a lot of bodies. Some are flayed, some are hammered to loose pieces of timber, some are eviscerated or quartered or lashed nearly bare. And much of what was once your family, much of your tribe, though it's indistinguishable really who, is dead here.
Oh, no.
And for the first time since our adventure has began, Ahrin, you remember some of the time before you left, or the times in between, maybe more accurately. I mean, you had remembered, that when you were a child, this isn't something you had forgotten, but when you were a child, you had clearly remembered a past life, one in a place of unchecked growth, and you were a druid of the Feywild. In fact, seers in Ahrin's village called her a green walker, somebody who could live out their dream and meditation time in the Feywild. The seers always tried to claim dream walkers, and they called them different things depending on where they went. Bronze walkers, which were the most rare among your tribe, who would go to Mechanus. Shadow striders, the most common in your tribe, who would go to the Shadowfell. Light seers to Elysium, and green walkers like you were somewhere in between in their frequency. They said you had a strong connection not only to the Feylands, but even beyond, to one of the celestial realms known as the Emerald Arbor.
Am I remembering this for the first time,
That's,
by the way?
This part of it, you may have remembered before. That's kind of
Okay.
your call, how much you wanted to have forgotten.
I
But
just literally could not remember if I remember how much of my childhood I remembered.
I don't
when
I
we
don't
started
think we talked
playing.
about it.
Maybe
Like,
if
you-
you're here, you remember it.
Yeah, now you remember a lot that
Okay.
you definitely didn't before. But some of this you knew, like you were a Bloodfang and things like that.
Okay, I can roll with that.
So this, I think you did remember this part of your
Okay, yeah.
childhood.
It's just very complicated.
Yeah, it is. But you were connected not just to the Feylands or the Feywild, but also the Emerald Arbor, which is one of the small celestial planes. And that's where the barbarian huntress, what did you say her name was?
Kylina.
Kylina, is said to rule as a goddess. These meditations, though, that you would have, where you would picture yourself mostly in the Feywild, were inopportune and unpredictable in their demanded attention. It often interfered with your training that your father wanted you to go through. And he would chide you often for lacking focus during that training as you were sort of seeing some of those other visions. You would respond with things like, especially when you were really small and before you had learned not to say these things, you would say things like, but Amma wouldn't, or, but the huntress showed me. And your father was quick to respond with things like, you know, talking about how orcs pay no mind to the traditions of pixies, or that prayer should be reserved for the weak-willed mortals who need it. And by that he meant your enemies, chiefly, right? And basically anybody who was an enemy of the Bloodfang tribe were in constant prayer. I mean, the Bloodfang tribe was notably strong in combat and did a lot of raiding. And I say tribe because maybe I don't have a better word for it, but maybe something like a series of clans or something would be better. those clans united under the Bloodfang banner, but they were closer to like a state. They had things like moots where they would go and meet. They had laws to arrange alliances. They had intermarriages like any series of interconnected kingdoms.
I do want to point out, this is kind of relevant, not super relevant, but Ahrin was raised a vegetarian, like that's part of their culture.
Right.
So just, I don't know. That's just in there.
Okay, I thought that was from your Fae background, is kind of how I was reading the vegetarian part. But if it's
no,
a
we're all vegetarians.
Okay.
Like, we won't hesitate to kill someone in battle, but we just rather not.
We have these
And
proud tusks for kale.
And we live in a place where, like, there's plenty of plant life to eat, so it just kind of felt unnecessary to kill animals to eat.
Okay.
That's not super relevant. I just thought I'd slip
Okay.
it in there.
The place did have a lot of the accoutrement of city-states, though. It had things that people tended to put to civilized cultures, like agriculture, like you're talking about. It had a council. It had the logistical know-how to keep an army in the field for months and keep it fed. It had written history. It had philosophy. It had all those things that people tend not to attribute to orcs. So the unification under the Bloodfangs was not complete. All the clans were free. They only united when they pleased. In that way, Bloodfang was a chief of his people, but also when a threat emerged, he became a general to the hordes when the need arose. And that was something he wanted for you, too, to attend court, to figure out how to keep these alliances, how to lead people in the field, and how you felt about that is up to you, if that was something you wanted to do or not. But it would have been something you would have had to struggle to do because of your other connections that would kind of split your focus at some of those times.
Yeah, I would think that I would, like, want to be good at it, but just not be good at it, and probably not seem like I was trying that hard.
Right.
Like, even if Ahrin was trying really hard to be good at, like, being a leader and a general and stuff, I don't think it would look like she was trying, because she's so, like, just chaotic and scattered and
Right.
friendly, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Her best
Yeah.
effort doesn't look very good.
I kind of thought that might have been how the dynamic was.
Yeah.
Like, you did your best. You wanted to please your father, and he was kind of not always satisfied, maybe because just some of the, not any fault of Ahrin, but it wasn't maybe her path.
Yeah.
For a long time before Ahrin was born, the clans were relatively safe in their homes. They stretched out in the western parts of the island of Manasseh, mostly around the Red Plume. And they would raid, different ones of these clans would raid the rich lands in the east, the 3 surrounding islands, and sometimes the peninsula that stretched down from the mainland's fertile cradle. But a number of them also farmed, and because of their reputation as warriors, rarely had to defend against any attacks on those farms. But a few generations or so before Ahrin's birth, while the Bloodfangs were still little more than a clan of middling reputation, a big threat emerged in the east from the mountains known as the Dead Men. The Bloodfangs, under the leadership of your grandmother, were the last of the easternmost tribes to survive that assault. They held the passage between the west and east of the island, known as Middlemarch, against the tides of what were Shadow Fae that came in through the first assault. Not only did they hold the Middlemarch, but the Bloodfangs beat them back and harried them for a retreat of at least 50 miles or so before they fell back and created their own defenses again. Because of that, the Bloodfangs picked up the plunder not only of the Shadow Fae that they killed, but of all the tribes that those Shadow Fae had destroyed on their way to the Bloodfangs. And for the
They're
first
not using
time,
it.
yeah, they were pretty much all killed. There weren't any prisoners. So for the first time, your tribe was pretty rich. Your grandmother used them to buy 6,000 warriors from other tribes and built the village you were born in. Those Fey creatures, which are called Shatter Kai to most people, but casually you usually called them Kith scum, slowly decimated the lands east of Middlemarch, but they were kept by the Bloodfangs from progressing further west. Without the easy pickings of the eastern part of Manasseh, though, and without enough numbers to leave the defenses unmanned as the Shatterkai constantly tested them, the Bloodfangs created a reputation as guardians, sometimes getting tributes from other clans, but slowly those tributes dwindled as the other orcs didn't feel that the threat in the east was really that powerful anymore because they had never broken through. So the defense slowly grew more and more taxing, and the resources over the generations grew less and less available. So all of that wealth was spent over those years. Ahrin, when you were raised, you saw this difficulty and actually fought and ranged out against or past the easternmost border against these Kith, offering prayers to the Huntress. I don't know. But at least using that connection with her and that mixture of the Fey spirit to make you who you are now, make you Ahrin, and have the strength to go out and fight, even if you didn't tend to lead large groups usually in those expeditions.
Yeah, I think, like, as Ahrin grew up and kept being told, like, this whole, dream and the Huntress and that's all,
Right.
like, just silly. I think as she grew up, she kind of forgot about it and stopped, like, believing in it, I guess.
I think that's probably why Ahrin, like, is a barbarian, right? Like, she's steered away from divine magic or even nature magic and went with what she could see and what she was told was the orc strength was always physical.
Yeah.
That's what your father would have stressed. That's what most of the clan members would have stressed. Only a few seers around would have tried to prod you to not forget the ability to green walk or dream walk.
Yeah. And she was actively trying to forget, so.
Okay. Kind of on a few of these hunts, as you were trying to forget that power, you still were reaching toward like this inner resolve that you had that basically came from what you thought was your own spirit in a lot of regards, but maybe was actually more of a connection to the Huntress than you thought. She gave you more and more of herself, made you more physically strong, because that's one of the things that she kind of imparts, not a divine magic, but just a physical strength. And you probably remembered, like we talked about, some of this, even when you were with our party.
Yeah.
Your family, your training, your tense connection with Amma and the Huntress. But now, the part of your memory that you had forgotten, as you were filled with the will of this goddess, fills in around you like you're finally a vessel grand enough to hold all of the excess. Every time the goddess came into you and made you stronger physically, you did lose a little something of what came from Amma, lose a little bit of what came from Ahrin, like you were a jug that was full of water being topped off with wine, constantly some of the water running out, but the wine could never all get in there either. But now it seemed like the size of the vessel grew. And when it did, those in your tribe that were close to you told you that you would flicker. You would become momentarily invisible and silent, fade in and out. And this might be something you're remembering for the first time now.
I would assume so.
Yeah. A wise woman said that this was the sign of being a planeswalker or a greenswalker. But a stronger one. That's what they called a planeswalker. You could shift while you were conscious, not just in astral form, but with your full physical body. Among most of the tribe members, that conclusion was out of favor. Among your father, it was extremely out of favor. They didn't interpret this concept of planeswalking literal anymore. Maybe they once did years ago. People knew of the other planes, obviously, and of the connecting points where they might be traversed. But to do so at will without finding those subtle connections was too much for most people to believe. Some seers in your tribe and other clans would go out on physical planeswalks across the grassy plains of Manasseh, taking no food as they did. They claimed that this allowed them to see visions of other places while they were awake, but most other people in the tribe dismissed them as hallucinations. The one exception that was revered among many tribes was Tamabo. Tamabo is said to have walked on. His tracks on his planeswalk ended in an empty clearing where a trader is said to have seen him flicker and disappear. A seer in your clan, and you can decide who this is, if it was somebody in your family or somebody who was just prodding you to use your gifts while you were swallowing them up, sometimes would call you Tama after you began flickering, but sometimes you were sure she was saying Ama instead. Who was that person? This memory's just coming back to Ahrin as she's in this devastated village.
Probably, I'm going to say hippie aunt.
Okay. That sounds about right.
Yeah, my father's youngest sister, who everyone just thought was crazy.
Okay. That's who it was then.
The family disappointment.
Right. Black sheep. So after the flickering, you began to leave for hours from your village, or days. You would come back with no memory of where you had been, but now some of those memories are coming back. They seem faint and distant in this place, back in Manasseh, but you can feel the threads starting to weave together more strongly between this place and the other. One time, you were recovering from a long hike. It was a retreat, not from the Kith, but from some lava that had erupted from a fissure when you were out in the east, ranging and looking for some of these Kith bands. You were exhausted and sweating, and your legs ached from the long march when, all of a sudden, you found yourself face to face with a blind tiefling man asking for guidance to a shrine. And there was a dwarf there and a ranger, and they smelled like slaves, and there was the queerest little gnome. And then you returned. And when you did, your tribe said you weren't gone for moments or days, but for years. And they said you would come back for a single battle at some crucial point. First a year after you first left, then 10, then maybe 30. And then people started to talk about Ahrin as this god who would come to them when the battle needed them. Somebody who could tear through enemy lines, hold back a charge while others escaped, seemingly about to sacrifice herself, but disappearing the moment before becoming overwhelmed as a horde of Kith came on. And now you're connecting that when you disappeared, you moved into the island of Lamoche instead.
Thanks for sharing our date night with us and exploring a whole new world together. We'll see you again next week. Until then, keep in touch by following us on Twitter at Date Night Podcast or visiting datenightpodcast.com.